Premier season. I think it'd be remiss if we didn't mention that your sort of your the way you played for Blackpool, particularly during that season, it saw you sort of rekindle your international aspirations, didn't it?
Yeah.
And I think you'd played for Scotland when you were at Rangers, but you had probably your, if I'm remembering it rightly, your most consistent period as a Scottish international while you were with Blackpool.
Yeah, no, I did a few caps in that time, in that period, playing for Blackpool, and yeah, it was a great honour to play for my country. I managed to get 26 caps. Probably should have had a little bit more, but you know, said about football's all about opinions and things like that. But no, that was another reason coming to Blackpool. I got the opportunity to play, and when you get an opportunity to play and showcase your career, you know, you're being successful, then you get the opportunity on the international scene. And I've done that, and no, I was delighted.
I mean, Tim, from a Blackpool fan perspective, it was a kind of a time that in the Premier League when it was unprecedented for Blackpool to have so many international players playing in the team, because at the time we had yourself, Charlie, we had Eardley playing for Wales,
Vaughan as well.
Gillo made the bench at Scotland, didn't he?
Craney played for Scotland as well.
Yeah, Cranes was, yeah. So it was a pretty amazing time, really, to be a Blackpool fan, wasn't it? But we've got the Premier League to go through, so let's move on to there right now. So just before the season kicked off, Charlie, we've got a few pre-season incidents that we'd like to discuss. You had two issues with the Oystons. Firstly was the ridiculous non-payment of your bonus for not getting relegated, which Carl allowed to go to court for you to eventually resolve. And there was the issue with the non-payment of the very late payment of the bonuses, when I believe they tried to invest it in a pension scheme for you, and Nick's called that the investment in the Fedora Financial Services pension scheme.
No, I think if we put the two of them separate, and we don't want to dwell on it too much.
Yeah. So the first issue, I mean, for me personally, for Carl to do that to you, for someone who's taken his football club and got it by the scruff of the neck, got him in the Premier League, and for him to then do that to you, it must have left a bitter taste in your mouth. And it's not the ideal preparation for the Premier League, I wouldn't have thought.
Well, I felt let down at the time, and that's why I challenged the wording of it. It wasn't because I was trying to get anything. I was just felt that I was due the money. You know, it was there in black and white.
It's right and wrong, isn't it? It's right and wrong, basically.
Yeah, it's
not about the money almost.
No, it's not. And listen, it cost me more to go to court than it did actually what I got paid. So I'll sum it up quite quickly. What happened was that I was due a payment if we got if we stayed in the championship, and it was to be paid on the next available payday after regaining championship status. So obviously we were safe. I would say, for instance, probably April, maybe, or
earlier
March, probably. Yeah, we were safe. So say it was the 1st of March. It should have been paid at the end of March. And listen, it was a decision that was to and fro, and there was 3 or 4 lads had the same thing in the contract. They didn't want to challenge it. I wanted to challenge it, and it ended up in court, and it just never had to get there, and that was it. Did it unsettle me? It did, but I always wanted to know what was best for the players and myself, and we done that, and I got the verdict that was right, and we moved on from it, and that was it. And the other bonus was, I think it's one where it's life changing for a lot of the lads, and the club tried to protect it by saying, you know, for the tax and things like that, but the lads were just willing to pay the tax. So they'd probably never earned that much money in one lump sum. They were happy just to take the 45% tax, move on and pay it. And but like the clubs, they obviously felt that they didn't have the money at the time to pay that £5 million bonus out when it was due, and they were waiting on Premier League payments, and it got messy, and eventually we got our money, and it never hindered us, really. It never stopped us wanting to work hard and playing in the Premier League. It gave us an opportunity to do that, and we got our money and we moved on from it.
And when we're obviously having secured your place in the Premier League, you no doubt we're looking forward to a nice foreign pre-season tour just to kick it off in the right way, were you?
Well, I was hoping we'd get something
Dubai or something like that.
Yeah, something nice, Portugal or somewhere like that. And we ended up in Devon, did we?
Yeah. This was the Devon trip, the famous Devon trip.
The famous Devon trip. We ended up in different hotels, and it was listen. It is what it was. It was at the time Blackpool Football Club. We just nothing run smoothly, but like you say, when you've got good people that believe in what we were doing was right and what the manager done was great. I remember, we played a game against Accrington Stanley, and Fletch might have told you this, but I remember at the time the Aki lads some of the tackles were horrendous, and they were giving us a bit Larry Scousers really, and threatening out. We're going to come in, we're going to steal your cars and we're going to blow your tyres up and all that. And I was like, what am I doing here? What's going on here? And we ended up bringing a waiter to training and things like that. And it was just how it was. And, eventually we got there and we got to the first game, and what a start it was.
Certainly was. So just in the build up to the season, were you worried at all that we weren't prepared for the Premier League, given that we didn't sign any players until the final 2 days before the season?
No, I think we were just in a zone where we were just buzzing to be going to the Premier League, and we didn't really care what was going on the outside. Ollie was probably running around mad trying to sign players, and Carl was saying you can't have these players, but Ollie was wanting this player, and that was just the way Blackpool was at the time. It was 100 mile an hour, and it was off the cuff, and the players never really
he wouldn't even let him sign DJ, would he? If you remember, because we got him eventually. But
yeah, it was a long process, that one, wasn't it? But it's part of the club, and it's what it has been, the history. Let's move forward and look to the future. Got good owners now, and the group of players that they've got at the moment seem to be in a good run of games and a good bit of form from where Neil was, because there was a point in the season where it was a bit of a sticky period, wasn't there? But they seem to have picked up now, and they're going along nicely. So, but going back to the build up, no, I think we were just in the zone of, yeah, we're in the Premier League, we're playing Wigan first day of the season, and then all of a sudden an influx of players turned up 2 days before the season started.
I was actually away on holiday because I had a pre-booked holiday. And I missed the first 2 games.
Can you believe that?
Can you honestly? Could you?
You'd have cancelled it, Tim. Why don't you cancel it?
I think I'd have been heading to the divorce courts if.
Yeah.
So I had to watch it on. I had one of those. Have you ever seen an old episode of Lightly Lads, where they want to watch the England game and they don't? Again, they're playing Poland. They don't want to know the score. So I was over in Cyprus, and I'm trying not to know the score until I can watch it, and it was just impossible. It was just absolutely impossible because it was, for whatever reason, it wasn't on live, which was much to my consternation, and you couldn't do streams in those days. So, but yeah, God, it was what an incredible start.
I was there, Charlie. And what did it feel like when you were walking out that tunnel for the first time? You've looked to your left, and you've seen that wall of tangerine behind the goal.
Well, I was nervous. I was nervous, but excited. I obviously family in the stands, wife and mum and dad were in the stands there, and to be able to lead Blackpool out in the Premier League was a huge honour. And Wigan at that time had a good team. I think it was Roberto Martinez the manager at the time.
Yep.
And they had people like MacArthur playing. Gary Caldwell, I think, might have been there at the time. And they had a good team, and we knew it was going to be a tough match, and we turned up. And like you say, when we walked out the tunnel on that left-hand side, which was to see a tangerine again, and they made they made the noise, and this is the best trip we've ever been on, was getting sung, and it was phenomenal to be able to do that, and the result was incredible.
It was like Wembley 2.0 for me, that game. It was another kind of pinch me, am I dreaming moment.
Well, the thing for me is that you know, obviously we'd won 4-0, and it's only until the last few years you look at, like, say, YouTube's up and running, and you see all the interviews of, you know, supporters outside the ground, and we're top of the league, and we knew that we were top of the league at the time, and I think somebody won 5-0, didn't they, later on in the day?
Chelsea, I think.
Chelsea it was, yeah. And
can't take that away from us, though.
No, just great memories for a good hour and a bit. We were top of the league, or, you know,
it was Jeff Stelling, wasn't it, who on Sky Sports News said, just pause a minute, for Blackpool fans, and said, look at the league table. And again, you know, when I've watched a season where we finished in the when you had the old re-election zone, when there wasn't the automatic relegation from what was then Division 4, where you had to apply for re-election. So we had the ignominy of that in 1983, and to see my team top of the league it's quite an emotional moment, and there's been plenty of emotional moments over this 2.5 year period watching Blackpool, and that's something that it's almost. I think we were top. Last time we were top of the league was probably the day war broke out, wasn't it? In 1939, I think we were top when the league was suspended, but and that's probably the last time.
So the games, Charlie, were coming thick and fast in the Premier League after that. So we've noted down the Arsenal game where Evo's got sent off after 5 minutes. It was a real.
At least we got 6 and no 9 like Southampton last night, so it's not too bad. But no, I think we'd obviously won 4-0 at Wigan. We thought we were the bee's knees, didn't we? And then reality hit us straight away. Evo sent off 6-0 at Arsenal. Welcome to the Premier League.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a harsh sending off, actually, I thought.
It was harsh. And
give us a chance, mate. Come on,
It might have probably only been 4 if he never got sent off.
So we've gone to Newcastle and won. Goal from yourself and DJ when that was his first game back. That was an amazing win. I think we fully deserved it, and another iconic moment there where you've revealed the T-shirt for Parky. So
a moment. No, it was massive because Parky was a big part of my career when I was at Blackpool. He was the one that would always, he'd played in the Premier League, and him and Tom I would always have a laugh and a joke with him, and they were great people for me. And we can remember it that day that when we got told that he'd obviously had the problem, and it's so sad now to see what situation he's in, and so severe, and he keeps battling away and keeps being strong. So yeah, he was a huge part of the football club, and when we had that, and I just asked Walesy, do you have something I could write on and show the appreciation for him, and it's quite showing regular that Newcastle game in the Premier League on Sky, and I always see that moment.
I think it's one of those moments that resonated with a lot of us, and one of the reasons when I know cause you kind of came when we were setting up BST to the opening night, didn't you, in Stanley Park? And we started. I think that was the first time we'd done a fundraiser for Parky. We were able to do it, and we over the years, including that 5-year anniversary we've done a bit, and I think we all remember what an important part it was of that setup, and I think we're all glad that we're able to do something, and hopefully, when all this nonsense we're having to deal with at the moment's behind us, we can do something again, and maybe link to getting you guys together.
And that was part of the plan of the game as well, that we would be donating part of the proceeds to Parquet, and that was what as a players that's what we would be looking to do. Do you know what I mean? And it's if that ever happens again, and we can get back to some kind of normality, and we can do that, it'd be great, because like you said, he played a massive part, and it was taken away from him at such a young age.
I mean, what a great event that'd be to kind of, once COVID's been and gone, but once it's in the back door almost, it'll be a great event to try and get this game on as a big welcome, we're back kind of thing. So let's hope we can get something sorted out through that. So I'm sure we can put something through BST, can't we, Tim?
Yeah, I mean, Charlie unfortunately missed out when we played Brett's testimonial, didn't you? I think Stoke wouldn't let him play.
Stoke wouldn't let him play. Yeah. And it's even small things like that should be getting rewarded again, and do you know what I mean? Like, and what they gave for the football club. So we'll see. It's having chats with the owners and the people that are in charge at the moment. They're up for things like that, and having communication with the players and having the players around and being part of it. So we'll see what happens in the future. So no, it's definitely something that if we can bang our heads together and get something together, and I think it would be a special moment.
Yeah, definitely.
So
go on, Charlie. Do
you want me to? I'll take it. The only reason I want to take it was I was actually brought up as a Liverpool fan, which I've mentioned, I think, on here before. My dad was a Liverpool fan, but still is a Liverpool fan, and going to Anfield away in October.
Yeah.
I mean, Liverpool. When I grew up, Liverpool were basically unbeatable. You know, they rarely lost at home. They rarely lost any games. Full stop. You know, winning European Cups, winning the leagues on a canter. And
sounds a bit like now, then, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah. But to turn up in October and see that, because it's quite an old scoreboard at Liverpool, isn't it? It's like something.
Yeah.
I think it's been there since the 70s or early 80s, and to see that scoreboard at the end of the game showing Liverpool 1, Blackpool 2 was just. It was like that was probably for me the most mind-blowing moments of the whole Premier season, that we beat Liverpool. I mean, obviously we go on to do the double over them, but we beat Liverpool away. And what was it like to play in that game and to score? Because you scored at the Cop end, didn't you?
Yeah, I obviously scored the penalty, didn't I? And when we went 1-0 up through, Luke Varney scored.
Yeah, yeah.
And listen, we were just in dreamland. I was fortunate enough when if you look at their team, you know, Gerrard, they had, you know, Skirtle, they had Reina, they had
Carragher, didn't they?
Carragher played.
Greek guy, Kyrgios.
Yeah, Kyriakos, Lucas. I think Lucas Levis might have played. So it was phenomenal. They had, you know, so I was fortunate to play against Stevie G, and a player that I'd looked at growing up and felt, you know, getting against him and playing, and obviously we'd won the game, and talk about that memories as well. We'd obviously we won 2-1, and I can remember us enjoying it after that game. We couldn't believe that we got clapped off from the Cop after the game, and it was a phenomenal day.
Do you know, I had a dream the night before that you were actually going to win 3-0, and I put 20 quid on us winning, which was quite good. I think it was about 15-1 or something stupid. So I did all right out of that. But I actually had 20 quid on us winning 3-0, which was, I think I was going to get $5,000 off a 20 quid bet, and we were 2-0 up. And I was like, it's like you with your 5 million quid. I'm thinking, I might get this. And then Kyriakos scored the bloody end of it. All right, okay. Then don't get greedy, Sim.
The equaliser came quite early in the second half, didn't it? I was thinking,
my dog.
Yeah, he didn't like that equaliser, did he? Or she? I was thinking, oh God, here we go. I thought the floodgates were going to open, but it wasn't the case.
We were 2-0 up at the time, were we not?
Yeah.
And they scored late, didn't they?
Was it in the first half? Right.
No, it was in the. We were definitely 2-0 up at half time.
Yeah, we were 2-0 up at half time, and they scored late on. It was about 5 minutes to go, and the Alamo were coming, and we were thinking this could end up. And they have a chance right at the death. And Jill
they scored quite early, Charlie. They scored quite early in the second half.
It was about 55, 60 minutes. So we had a long way to go.
Yeah, that's when I was thinking, oh God, here we go. Yeah, but we were comfortable, weren't we? We weren't really under the cosh.
No, we were. I don't think many of the games. Listen, we got beat 5 or 6 from Chelsea, 4 at Chelsea, 6 at Arsenal. But a lot of the game, even United at home, we felt comfortable 2-0 up there, and we lose 3-2. It was just quality in the end, and good finishing. The end finishes off really. And
do you know? I think if you'd had VAR, I think you'd have stayed up, because I don't think you actually got the rub of the green that year. I know the next game I was going to mention was Man City, where I thought we played superb.
That was our first time on Sky, wasn't it? Oh,
yeah.
No, we played. That was a Super Sunday game, wasn't it? 4 o'clock.
Yeah, 4 o'clock kick. And I thought we played superb. And I think 2 of their goals would arguably not have been given in today's game. I think there was a foul. Was there a foul on Everett for one, and I think there was an offside on the other.
Yeah, Tevez.
I just always felt during that season that we never quite got the rub of the green. Now, whether that's because there's that little bit of bias towards the big side, I don't know, but it just seemed to happen too often for me.
I thought we were. It's easy to say in hindsight now. I thought we were too naive at times. We were far too open. If we were probably a little bit more experienced in the team or Premier League experience, we might have seen games out. We were 2-0 up at Blackburn, 2-0 up at Bolton. That would have kept us up. Where else we were leading, and we drew games, and it was, we drew, I think, 1-1 with Wolves at home that we probably should have won. So it was, it was tough, but that was a journey that you can never take away from us.
There was the Villa away game, Charlie, when that controversial game when Ollie's decided to change the entire squad.
Yeah.
What annoyed me about that was because they were floundering themselves at the time, Villa. They were there for the taking. That was essentially an easier game than West Ham away, which is why he's rested all those players. And we've narrowly lost that game. And if he'd have played the starting 11, I'm pretty sure we'd have wiped the floor with them, but I think we'd have beaten them. Just
for the benefit of our younger viewers who may not remember, as compared with the game before, we didn't play Matt Gilts in goals. We didn't play Eardley, Ian Everett, Grandin, DJ, Craney, Vaughan, Fletch, or Charlie. I think there was only one outfield player who played from, and I forgot, was it Keith?
Was it Keith Southern? Keith Southern played.
There was one player from the previous game who started, and we actually got in a lot of trouble, didn't we? Because
we got fined
for picking from your squad.
And Ollie resigned, didn't he? And I don't know, it was for theatrics, and Carl refused to accept it. And
no, it's probably did resign, and Ollie was, but he was right enough. Like you say, it was probably the first time that a club had actually said, like, I'm changing my players to that level of 9-10 changes.
What did you think of it at the time, though, Charlie? What did you think in the dressing room when he announced it?
Well, every player wants to play, and we were disappointed not to play, but when I think we were winning the game at some point, weren't we?
Not sure we were winning, because I think Delfonso Nathan Delfonso scored for them, didn't he, at one point?
Yeah, he put them one up, and DJ equalised. Remember, it was like a deflected shot, and it kind of looped in at the whole time.
I think we were drawn at one point or something like that. We were excited on the bench, and we thought, by the way, we changed it. Yeah, and he said, like, by the way, we're going to win this, and I think we lost the late goal, didn't we?
Yeah,
James Collins. Yeah, so it was tough because we wanted to play, and then the West Ham game, for me, that was when the season derailed, when we lost the goalkeeper.
Yeah. We were going to say that. I think probably it's the one defining. It's probably the most defining moment of the whole season, I think, isn't it? Losing Gilts for, I think we lost 4 or 5 months.
Gillo was brilliant for us, and we lost him for about 4 or 5 months. I think with a knee injury, and obviously Richard Kingston come in, and listen, it's not just all about the goalkeeper, but when you've got somebody at the back that's so assured, so vocal, and the presence there, it made a big difference to the defence. And I sort of heard the rumour that we had a chance of signing Shay Given at the time on loan, and he was on an absolute fortune at Man City, but we couldn't afford them.
Yeah, I think the idea was that we took him on loan to the end of the season. I think, as the stories I heard, it was going to cost $500,000, and the problem was, and I suspect there's some truth in this. We play Sunderland between Christmas and New Year, and we win 2-0. And Kingston had by a fluke. He had a stormer, didn't he? And up at Sunderland, I was suspended again.
Oh yeah,
and it was that blue kit we wore, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I won £500 that game because I had DJ and Blackpool to win. And but at that point we were 8th with 25 points from 17 games. So halfway through,
unbelievable.
And I think then the view was you probably only need 35 or 36.
3 more wins.
3 or 4 wins. And I think, I suspect Carl looks and thinks, £500,000, Shay Given, Kingston's had a stormer, don't need him. And, you know, I'm only guessing, but, you know, if you've got a chance to sign someone of Given's experience, I think Given got injured not long afterwards in training and missed the rest of the season anyway. But if he'd come to us, that wouldn't have happened. And I think if we'd had either Gilts or him in, I don't think we'd have gone down.
No, I don't either. No.
John, you go next.
Okay, so obviously that Sunderland game's been and gone. I remember coming out of there, Charlie was speaking to my sister again, saying, "We are never going down. We're on 20 points." That's what I said to her.
So basically, you cursed us then, yeah?
I said, "We are never going down," after seeing that. So January transfer windows come round, and it'd be remiss of us not to mention this. We know, you know what's coming.
Yeah.
Was it right, KO? Carl told you couldn't leave for Liverpool as it was they were top 4.
Well, they weren't top 4 at the time
because they weren't top 4. But no one would have blamed you for going to Liverpool. When Liverpool come knocking, you go, don't you? So how was it for you? How unsettling was it for you personally?
Listen, it was life-changing, and it was a difficult decision because, you know, I was never promised. I was told if you can go to the Premier League, that Ollie said I'll get you to the Premier League. We're obviously playing in the Premier League, and when a club like Liverpool comes, I thought it would be quite easy to just get out and go and play for Liverpool. But it wasn't to be. You know, Carl's obviously a tough negotiator, and you know, looking back, it's probably the right decision for the football club because they were selling probably the best player, and it would probably give them less chance of staying up. And unfortunately for me, that then ruled me out moving anywhere. And you know, it was a tough month, but I hope that, you know, the transfer request was just basically just trying to see if it would move the thing and move the deal on a lot quicker. It wasn't to be, and I hope my performances from the end of this, from that January to the end of the season, proved that, you know, my heart was still in the football club, and that whatever happened in January was put to the bed, and I'd wait till the summer to see what would happen.
I think it was from our perspective. I think, you know, we know where we are. We know what we are, Blackpool, and I don't think anybody, and John sort of alluded to this before, anybody would ever criticise any player for as long as they're moving up and not sideways or down just for money. If they're actually bettering themselves as a footballer and going to and there's no, Liverpool were going through a transition period then, but let's have no doubt, let's not mess around. You know, they are a massive, massive club on the world stage, aren't they? And they were then, even though they were a little bit in the doldrums. Nobody would ever have had any criticism of anybody who took that opportunity. And we would just be grateful for the fact that we've had players like you and some of the other guys who were there at the time. We were able to watch you. That's why I don't think, probably at Blackpool you were allowed to do stuff that you never got away with at Liverpool and never got away with at other clubs, because we'd never seen the likes of you and others play for us. So if you want to try and ping a 50-yard ball that it doesn't come off, we'll say, bloody hell, that's brilliant. It nearly came off. And I think perhaps that positive energy helps, probably, I like to think, helps you and helps Evo and all the other players who I think's really stepped up that year. And
you're absolutely spot on. I remember, you know, when I was trying things and it never come off, but I'd still be getting cheered, and they'd still be getting a clap, and they'd be still singing my name, and you know, and that's when you know that you're liked and you're in a place where they appreciate what you're trying to do, and that's what I tried doing with performances on a Saturday, was just, you know, give my all and try and be the best player, and you know, I always believed that I wanted to work at that football club where people remember my name and being up there with the great players. You know, I've said before, Armfield and people like that, and that was massive for me, because when you do get a club and you enjoy it so much and you have so much affiliation to it, it's hard to leave it. And let's say when a club like Liverpool comes, it was a difficult decision to hand the transfer request, because I felt that it was going to be disrespectful to the supporters, but also to my teammates who helped me get to that position. But I had to do it because, like you say, it was life-changing for me, career-wise, but off the pitch as well. It was changing my life, and changing my family's life. So it was tough, but when it knew it wasn't going to happen, I knuckled down. I woke up the next day, and I think within 2 days we played West Brom on the telly, and I scored a penalty.
I was trying to think the first home game when you came back. I'm sure you were you on the bench? Did you come off the bench? I remember seeing you coming on, and you put a right shift in the first game back. I may be wrong.
After the transfer request?
Yeah.
No, we played West Brom at home, and that's when I scored, and I went mad, and I pointed to the fans as if this was for you, and you know, the appreciation that I had and the support that I had while I was going through what I was going through was phenomenal. And I was emotional after that, because I always knew that the supporters had supported me through the good times, and you know, I did. You know, when I handed the transfer request, and I didn't want to do it, but I felt that I had to try and make the move happen, and it never happened. So
it's like Sting, Charlie. It's a one potentially. Right, the move happened in the end, but it was a once in a lifetime opportunity. That's what anyone with half a brain would think at the time.
No, I know that.
You've got to grab it with both hands.
But when you're in that position where you're captain of the football club, and you've got to lead by example, and you do things like I felt that I let a few people down, and you know, like you say, every goal I scored, I still do it. I enjoy it, and let's say the bond that I have with the Blackpool supporters is great, and hopefully that can continue in years to come.
What did you have any conversations in the dressing room with any of the lads at the time of when this was going on? What did they support you? And
they couldn't believe I wasn't allowed to go. They were supporting me. They were saying, "Listen." Half of them actually said to me, "Listen, I think you should just hand a transfer request in." It was half of them pushing it that way as well, because they knew what was going on, and they wanted, you know, I was open and honest with them, and they were trying to say, "Listen, it's life changing," and it was tough. But I said, like, don't worry about us. It's important that you look after yourself. And no, it was. Listen, it was tough because they're a good group of lads, and I was just fortunate, lucky enough that I can go back in the dressing room after that, and they knew that I'd give my all, and I'd lead them by example, and I did that for the rest of the season.
Yep. We had and this, I don't think this isn't any criticism of you by any stretch of the imagination, but we seem to have a bit of dip in form in February and March, and I think we seem to play a lot of teams who were now at the bottom, at home particularly, and we either lost or drew and didn't perform as well as we could have done. And
I remember a game against Sunderland. We played Sunderland at home, and we lost 2. Was it 2-1 or 2-0?
Yeah, I thought it was 3-1, but I might be wrong.
3-1 maybe, yeah. And we should have won games like that. Wolves at home, we should have won, but
lost to Birmingham twice.
Birmingham twice. I remember that day. I sold one of the pies for the game at Birmingham game.
Just the question was, I mean, if you look at our January transfer business, I think the best bit of the transfer business, all credit to Carl, was not letting you go. But then we brought in Andy Reid, Kornienko, and Beattie, and during those periods, quite a few of them played quite a bit, and I remember Keith was sort of dropped, and I think we brought Punching in as well, who ended up being quite a good signing. Yeah. But for me, we seem to lose a little bit of the soul out of the team. Maybe because you'd all been playing together for 2 or 3 years and knew each other like the back of your hand.
Yeah.
Do you think there might be something in that?
No, it's fair. Yeah, I thought we brought in players that were
substandard.
They probably weren't good enough they were good enough, but never bought into how we were. We were hard-working players that had a bit of quality in the end. And when you try to listen, when you get an opportunity to sign players of Beattie's caliber and Andy Reid, who had good CVs, it was hard to turn down, and it was a difficult time, and probably never worked what we actually thought it would have. So no, it was disappointing, but I keep going back to, I think it was the goalkeeper thing was massive for us.
Well, if we talk about that, you touched on Blackburn away before. You're cruising. I had more money on in this one, but this time it didn't pay off.
You're a problem gambler, Tim.
Going on DJ Campbell or Charlie Adam and a Blackpool win away from home was like taking candy off a baby off the bookings back then. But in this one, I had Charlie Adam and Blackpool to win at Blackburn, and you scored a fantastic free kick.
What a free kick that was! Another in the top bin.
Yeah, I think that was another game I come back from another suspension or an injury or something like that. I remember it. I remember scoring that. I scored a penalty that day, and I was getting a bit of stick from Blackpool fans. I put my arms up, and Sophie at the time, my wife, she was in a box behind the goal, and she was banging on the window, and the Blackburn fans turned round. And they started giving them dogs abuse, so it was it was tough. But I remember, and I remember the free kick. It was about 20 yards, 25 yards out, and Paul Robinson was in goals, and I've whipped it into the top corner. It was a good free kick.
But I think a lot of us cite that game as the time when we knew we were going to go and get relegated, because that incident with Kingston, when it went 2-2, we were down our end, and we should have had a corner in like the 93rd minute. Howard Webb he's give them a goal kick. The ball's gone into the middle. Fletcher's been fouled. He's give them another dodgy free kick, and it was like he couldn't wait just to give them one more opportunity. And I knew as soon as these give that free kick and the way Kingston was playing, they were going to launch it in the box. And I think Chris Samba. What did was Evo saying something to Kingston? Because you could see a conversation. I'm sure was he saying to him, just stay on your line, we'll deal with it?
Possibly, I don't know. I don't know what he was saying back then, but no, it was, like I say, when you're 2-0 up and you're cruising, like you say, we were cruising. Same at Bolton, we were 2-0 up, cruising again, and we lost late goals. But that was just, lack of experience in the Premier League, and Big Sam, knew what was Sam the manager at the time?
Steve Keane.
Steve Keane?
Yeah, I think I can't remember now.
Did
Alex get sacked at some point during that season?
He might have got sacked during that point, or maybe he was manager at Bloomfield Road, because
he was definitely.
I remember getting told that he deliberately played Phil Jones to man mark me. That one of the games might have been at Ewood Park or at Bloomfield Road. And so that was something I got told later on, a few years later.
You see that?
What?
Richard Kingston in the WhatsApp group.
No, he's not. But he'll be.
Go on, Charlie.
He'll be in Ghana somewhere, enjoying himself. He was he was a great character, great lad.
But there was a story, wasn't there, that his ex-wife was a witch, and that she'd put a spell on him, and because he never got another club again.
Something like that. It was at Wigan. Was it Wigan?
Yeah, he was at Wigan before us. And
come to us. I remember when he first came in the door. He obviously was Ghana International, and they were sponsored from Nike, and all. Like, at that time, the lads were like buying their own boots and that. And he got first delivery. He got this big box. Honestly, was full of Nike gloves and boots and all that. And the lads were like buzzing. He used to get boots every week from Nike and all that. And it was just, the lads were like, what are they? And he used to just hand them to the lads, and he'd get sent everything in. But it was, he was another one that enjoyed being in the group. He was a laugh and a joke, and he had a good time. But, in the end, probably, had a tough time in goals for us.
So there's obviously memorable games at home. We beat Liverpool. There's the famous game in United, a game when we've thrown that away 2-0 up, and we've lost that 3-2. But
yeah,
let's go on about the Spurs away game for that famous double penalty. I watched that in the Old Town Hall in Poulton. I still remember it clear as day today. What was going through your head on that second penalty? Did you have any?
No, I had no qualms
about taking it.
No, I'd obviously missed the last one, and
a minute later we've got another.
It went for a corner.
Who tried to take the ball off you?
DJ.
Yeah, that was it, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I'd obviously missed that one. Gomez, good save, didn't he? His left-hand side. It went round the post. We got a corner. I whipped the corner in, and then there was a foul or something like that, and then we got another penalty.
Gomez was still hyped up from the penalty save, and he's clattered Fletch, I think.
Yeah, he clatters Fletch or something like that, and then we got a penalty, and I take the ball, and DJ wants it, but no,
balls of steel to take that, Charlie.
I was penalty taker at the time, and I knew as a captain I had to lead by example, and I knew that I was just putting my foot through it and hoping that it would go in the net. And there's another one, we lost a goal late on again.
Jermaine Defoe, wasn't it?
Defoe scored
minutes.
And so it's just like we were 1-0 up.
He'd only just come on. He came on a sub and just hit it from about 20, 25 yards. It was just
it was good strike. And so it's another game that probably we should have probably been comfortable in the Premier League that season. And it was a huge blow for us to lose a goal 89 minutes.
Yeah, I think probably you showed the most emotion. Tell me if I'm wrong. Probably ever in your professional career over that on when you scored that penalty. I think you could see it on your face. It was etched there, wasn't it? What it meant to you.
Yeah, because we'd obviously went 1-0 up, and that probably would have got us safe. That result, if we that was that at White Hart Lane.
Yeah, pretty sure it was. That was it. That was the moment. Yeah.
So, because we obviously it was near the end of the season, I think, and we knew probably if we'd won that, we might have been safe, but not to be. And we're all.
Do you remember? I think Wigan were dead and buried, and I think you pounced it on Zobbia, wasn't it? Who just went on this unbelievable scoring run. Yeah, that got them out of the danger zone, and which leads us. I know we had a fantastic home win against Bolton, didn't we?
4-3, wasn't it?
Yeah, great game to watch there.
Yeah, I scored that day as well. I remember that one.
You scored the winner. I think you put us 4-2 up, and I think they got one back afterwards. And then we, the finale away at the Theatre of Dreams.
Yeah,
and we need to win.
Yeah, we need to win to do something to stay up, and we go 1-0 up, don't we?
One down.
Yeah.
No, we went one. No, we went one down.
Did we go one down?
Was it like left back? Yeah. Yeah, Charlie, you equalised with that free kick.
So I equalised with a free kick. Yeah. So obviously the walls there, Paul Scholes in the wall, and Van der Sar's in goals. And I knew that. I thought Paul Scholes is the smallest in the wall. If I aim for his head, he might duck it away. And fortunately enough, he moved it away and never got it. And it was 1-1 and run back towards the Blackpool end. And it was 1-1 at half-time, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And then Fletch scores that flick.
What a goal that was! What a goal!
Just after half-time was just in dreamland, really. And I think that probably was the worst thing that could happen. We scored so early because then they brought on Michael Owen Anderson come on, and we ended up losing 4-2.
Yeah. I think it was almost like I think Fletch scored about in 55 minutes or something, 57 minutes. And I said it was one of my favourite goals of the Premier League because I think the movement that we showed. I think Punchin was involved on the right-hand side. And I remember Lee Sharp scoring a goal like that against Barcelona back in the late 80s or early 90s.
I remember it.
And it reminded me like that type of goal. And again, seeing a Blackpool player scoring goals like that was at Man United was just, they're memories that just can never be taken away from you. But I just think was it Evo then who made a mistake, and I think we just seemed to have given everything at 60 minutes and had nothing left to give.
Yeah, and I think that was probably the story of the season, wasn't it? We were unbelievable for 60-65 minutes, and probably after that we died a death, really, and that's why maybe we conceded so many late goals.
That was just too much quality on the United team at the end. I don't think they'd actually concede. They'd never been behind at half time in a game, and I think they'd only lost once all season. I think it was to West Brom that season, so we were really up against it. But I think it's one of the maddest I've ever been. Sort of lost it when we went 2-1 up at that game. It's like, what a moment when Fletch scored. But obviously at the end, it was a very emotional moment for me personally and all the other Blackpool fans. We knew it was the end of an era. We knew you were going to leave, and we kind of knew the team was going to break up. So it was kind of a horrible moment for me at the end. And
yeah, but
I
that
guess you must have known it was your last game for Blackpool. And you were going to go on to bigger and better things.
No, at that time I never thought. When I was walking off the pitch, I never thought about that. Never went through my mind what was going to happen. My thought was I'd let everybody down. That's how I felt. I'd let everybody down. I was there to keep Blackpool in the Premier League, and I never achieved that. And that was the toughest part. That walk from that corner to the dressing room was tough. And yeah, it was just I felt that I'd let so many people down that we never achieved that. So it was tough to take. And then obviously the summer developed, and then obviously the move happened, and then I moved on.
Overall, what would you say your best memory was of your time at Blackpool?
Tough question. That
it's hard.
It isn't very tough. There's lots of them. That's the problem.
It's hard, and probably I might say the old cliche, but I think the day I signed to the day I left, I enjoyed every moment, no matter what was going on. It was a club where I was at my happiest, probably played my best football, and life changed for me when I was there, because I ended up married, I ended up having kids, lived in the area. Was only until last season I was living in, earlier this season I was still living in the area. So it was, no, I would never say that there was any regrets. It was just the disappointment of getting relegated, but I enjoyed every single moment of being at Blackpool.
I think it's fair to say we enjoyed every moment of seeing you play, Charlie, as well. We've seen a player I've seen in my lifetime anyway. So let's we're on 2 hours now, so we'll try and wrap it up. So we're going to talk about post Blackpool now. Obviously, Sam's going to speak to you in more depth about your career in general. So
yeah,
you've signed for Liverpool. Your dream moves happened. A reasonable year at Liverpool, would you say?
No, it was a reasonable year. It was a good year. We obviously won the Carling Cup, got to an FA Cup final. I got injured quite late in the season, missing the FA Cup final. I played 24 games in a row in the league, and then I got dropped for that game, that infamous game when Suarez with Patrice Evra. I was on the bench that day and come on and set up the goal for Suarez to. I think it was Suarez that scored the goal, and we lost 2-1. So, listen, I loved my time there for that year, and it's probably the only regret really of my career that I probably should have stayed there probably another year. But at that time, I wanted to play football, and I got the opportunity to go to Stoke.
Yeah. So you've gone to Stoke, and you were there for, was it 5-6 years, and you've played a hell of a lot.
7 years I was there.
Years, right? Yeah. So
7 years. Yeah.
You've played consistently top level football for an extended period of time in your career.
That V-Class Mercedes parked outside your house at 7 o'clock every morning, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, that was
going there every day.
Yeah, no, it was a long slog, and I fortunate enough I managed to got myself a driver. Took me there every day. But it was like Tim was saying, that I enjoyed living in the area so much that I found it hard to leave, and I find it hard now. Being away, this is the first time I've properly been away, because even when I was at Reading, family still lived in Blackpool, and I was travelling up and down the road, and we made the decision at the start of the next move where we'd go, that everybody'd go together. Obviously lockdowns come to us, but it's difficult. Listen, we're enjoying being in Scotland and Glasgow, and I'm enjoying playing where I am, but Poulton is always going to be home probably when I do finish playing.
Excellent. Well, that's good. That's good to hear, because I'm actually the manager of Poulton under-8s, JFC, Charlie. So okay. I do know Parish. So
yeah,
I'll have to when you come back down, you'll have to come down and do a guest training session.
No, have a look. Great, yeah, boys. Definitely. I'll come and have a watch.
I was telling John about your appearance in the Lads versus Dads at Poulton just before you started your Premiership season, when you made a quick guest appearance, didn't you, on down Cotton Hall yourself?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, no, I got roped in. Typical parish roping me in as well.
And I saw somebody come in and dive in a tackle with you, and I thought, if Charlie misses the opening game of the Premier League season,
yeah, because of this, yeah. But no, it's listen, it's good to be part. Obviously, we were looking back at photos not so long ago, and Nico now is 17 years of age, so it's to see where they were then to where they are now. They just grow up so quick, don't they?
Yeah, yeah. So just before we go, Charlie, let's talk about obviously the period between Stoke and Reading.
Yeah.
How close were you to re-signing? Because you were spotted at AFC trials. Yeah, I mean, we all want to know that. We all want to know this because we were all clamouring for this signature.
Yeah,
I mean, it had been a dream for us to see you back in the tangerine shirts again. So, how close were you to joining? What happened there?
Well, so how it happened? I obviously new owners come in, and I'd spoken to Simon when he'd come over. Went to Blackpool to the stadium to meet them. I had a chat with him and the new chairman. It wasn't Ben at the time. It was Michael as a Bolingbroke.
Yeah, it was Michael and Ben Hatton, wasn't it?
Ben Hatton, yeah. So they were there at the time, and
were you there at the time? Were you involved, Tim?
I think. I think we and Charlie had a couple of chats, and I tended to stay out because I was getting stick last night about some of the interim board signings, wasn't I? But the reality is, I didn't think it was right as a Blackpool fan that I would be involved in things like that. So I tended to stay out of it out of choice. Whether I'd have been involved or not, otherwise I don't know. But I focused on other things. But
yeah, so the chats come, and it wasn't a strange chat. It was just. They asked me what I was thinking of doing and what I wanted to do, and I said, listen, I want to keep playing. I want to eventually go into coaching and management. And obviously Simon coming as manager, and we tried to negotiate a deal really to make something happen because I wanted to come back and play and I wanted to enjoy it, and I could finish my career at Blackpool. That would be amazing. But out of the blue, I got an opportunity to go to Reading to play in the Championship, and that's what it was. The opportunity was to return, but I felt I still had enough to offer the Championship, and that's the step I took, and that was the reason really.
And obviously, you've now had your is it a dream move for you to go back to Dundee, your hometown, your boyhood? Oh,
club? Absolutely. This is the team I supported as a kid. This is my club that I enjoyed. I never thought I'd get the opportunity to play. And
how did that move come about then?
Well, just out of the blue. Obviously, I was training on my own, and one or two things were materialised to go abroad. I had an offer to go to Australia, which I was considering. And I was going to go to a club in Australia. I was talking to the manager, and then obviously COVID was there, so that deal fell through because my family couldn't move at the same time. I had to go there for 3 months on my own before they then could come out, and it was a bit messy. So we wanted to go wherever we were going to go. We were going together, and so it was tough. I wanted to try and make something happen. Again at Blackpool, if it was possible, I got my agent to speak to the club, and it wasn't to be. The management team obviously wanted to go in a different direction, which is understandable. They want younger players, and that's how it is. So no hard feelings there. And then out of the blue, the manager of Dundee phoned me and said, "Would you like to come and play here? I think it would be good for you." And I was up for it. And in that period of time, obviously everybody well documented that my mum fell ill, and that made the decision a little bit easier, really. I wasn't too keen on coming back to Scotland. I was happy.
Did your mum live up in Scotland?
So my mum lived in Dundee. So she
So
she still lived at home. She still lived in Dundee. I wanted to stay probably more in the northwest because family were there. Polton, that was home for us, and kids were at school. They were happy, and this opportunity come round, and then when obviously I found the news out about mum, it was just accelerated the process really quicker, and I made the decision that I was going to come back, and I'm loving being back.
And I think it's been reasonably successful for you, hasn't it? Because I've noticed you picked up the Divisional Player of the Month, did you, for December?
This one.
Hey,
there you go. It's never
got it, Charlie. Still got it.
He's never too far away, this little guy. When you get to my age, there's no many. You don't get many accolades on your own. So I try and keep them. I'm actually surprised that I'm allowed it in the house. Do you know what I mean? Because everything else is in in storage, or it's in boxes.
But yeah, I mean, it's a perfect end of your career, really, isn't it? Getting back to your hometown club, and it must be brilliant for you. It
is. I feel good. I'm enjoying it. I'm playing. I've scored a few goals. I've set up a few goals. We've been a little bit inconsistent, really. You know, Hearts are they're a strong team. They got the best budget in the league. So it's going to be tough, but you know, we can get into a playoff position if we can do with the next few games we've got. So no, I'm looking forward to it. It's a good challenge, and you know, it'll be a nice way to finish, hopefully, in a couple of years. So
what's your plans after you finish playing?
Coaching or management, hopefully. You know, I obviously do a bit of media now away from the game, which I really enjoy, but there's no better than actually being a footballer or being a manager. So hopefully one day I'll get that opportunity, and we'll see where it takes us.
Hopefully back at Bloomfield Road one day, Charlie. It'd be great to see Tim, wouldn't it, leading the team out.
It would. I think your Blackpool story hasn't quite finished yet, Charlie. So somewhere along the line, I think we'll see you back at Bloomfield Road.
Listen, I hope so as well. It's you know, it's a club that remains close to me and always will do. I had great times there, and you know, I just hope that just going back to that small story, the moment that I obviously come back with Reading in the FA Cup last season was brilliant for me as well, because I never got the chance to say goodbye, and that reception I got was great as well. So, like you say, hopefully one day we can get back together, and we can be successful together as well. So it'd be great to be part of the football club again.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I think I speak for all Blackpool fans to say we hope that happens one day. Right, I think we'll leave it there now, Charlie. We're on it's 10:30. Time flies, doesn't it? So just thanks ever so much for coming on and doing this for us. It's really appreciated. It's an honour to speak to you.
No, it's my pleasure, and do you know what I mean? It was an honour to play for your club and represent it, and hopefully I've done it in the right way, and we could be talking in the next 10 years about what we achieved in 2010.
Yeah. Well, we'll all be all those old men, won't we, that bore everybody stupid in 20, 30 years' time about what used to happen, and long may, you know, that's what I'm looking forward to in a funny way, is that nobody's ever going to take those memories away from us, and without you, they wouldn't have happened, mate.
No, thank you very much.